Before the story begins, there is only silence. A vast, star-strewn silence blanketing the desert. The air is cool, carrying the scent of dust and distant time. Then, a single golden finger of light touches the horizon. It creeps across the sands, slow and deliberate, a painter's first stroke on a dark canvas. The sky softens, from deep indigo to a tender blush of rose and orange. This is the moment when the world awakens, and the land of Egypt remembers itself. The Great Pyramids, silhouetted against the dawn, emerge from the retreating darkness. They are not mere stone. They are mountains made by human hands, triangles of ambition piercing the heavens. Their presence is a quiet, powerful hum in the soul. They have watched millennia unfold. They have seen empires rise and crumble into the very sands from which they were born. At this hour, as the sun's warmth spills across the Giza Plateau, you can almost feel the loneliness of eternity. The wind whispers secrets around their colossal bases, secrets of kings and queens, of gods and mortals, of love and loss. It is a profound emptiness, yet it is filled with the weight of countless lives. The first light catches the limestone, and for a fleeting moment, the pyramids seem to glow from within, blazing with the memory of their ancient, polished glory. This is where our journey must start, in the quiet grandeur of a world waiting to be born again in our imagination. This landscape is a testament to what was, and a question of what remains. The sheer scale of it all is humbling. It speaks of a people who dared to dream on a cosmic level, who saw their lives not as fleeting moments, but as threads in an eternal tapestry. The rising sun does not just illuminate stone, it illuminates a legacy. It reveals the contours of a civilization so powerful, so deeply connected to its environment, that its spirit endures long after its power has faded. We stand as silent observers, just as these monuments have stood for ages, feeling the immensity of the past pressing in on us, urging us to listen to its story. The air thickens with the heat of the approaching day. The city of Cairo begins to stir in the distance, a modern pulse against an ancient heartbeat. But here, on this sacred ground, time itself seems to warp and bend. The distant traffic noise fades into a dull murmur, replaced by the imagined sounds of chisels striking stone, of priests chanting hymns to the sun god Ra. You are no longer in the 21st century. You are a traveler who has crossed the threshold of history, standing at the precipice of a lost world, ready to witness the birth, the breathtaking life, and the slow, poignant death of ancient Egypt. The sun is now high, the sky a brilliant blue, and the story is ready to be told. Long before the pyramids, there was the river, the Nile. It was the lifeblood, the creator, the god that gave Egypt its very existence. Each year, its waters would swell and flood the arid banks, leaving behind a thick, black, fertile silt. This was Kemet, the Black Land, a ribbon of impossible green cutting through the endless red desert. From this dark, rich soil, life sprang forth. Grains grew tall, papyrus reeds rustled in the breeze, and communities flourished along its shores. The river was a clock, a calendar, and a promise. It dictated the rhythm of life, the cycle of planting and harvest, of scarcity and abundance. It was the source of all things. For centuries, this land was divided. Two kingdoms, separate and distinct, existed along the great river. In the south was Upper Egypt, the land of the White Crown, a realm of rocky valleys and resilient people. To the north, where the Nile fans out into a lush delta, was Lower Egypt, the land of the Red Crown, a place of marshes and trade. They were two halves of a whole, yet they were rivals. Their cultures were different, their gods were distinct, and their people were wary of one another. The story of Egypt as a single mighty civilization could not begin until these two lands were bound together as one. This monumental task required a leader of immense vision and will. That leader was a man named Narmer. Around 3100 BC, this powerful king from the south embarked on a great conquest. History remembers him as a unifier, a warrior who brought the two lands under a single rule. An ancient artifact, the Narmer palette, tells his story in stone. On one side, he wears the white crown of Upper Egypt, smiting his enemies. On the other, he wears the red crown of Lower Egypt, surveying the vanquished. He is the first to wear the double crown, the Shent, symbolizing the unified kingdom. This was more than a military victory. It was the birth of a nation. It was the moment Egypt became Egypt. With Narmer, a new era dawned. He founded the city of Memphis, strategically placed at the junction of Upper and Lower Egypt, to serve as the capital of his new kingdom. From here, the first dynasty of pharaohs would rule. The unification was not just political, it was a profound spiritual and cultural fusion. The gods of the north and south were brought together, and a national identity was forged. The Nile, which had once been a dividing line, now became the central artery of a unified state, a highway connecting its people. The foundation was laid, strong and deep, for a civilization that would endure for 3,000 years. With the land united, the power of its ruler grew to unimaginable heights. The king was no longer just a king. He was a pharaoh, a living god. He was the earthly embodiment of Horus, the falcon-headed god of the sky, and the son of Ra, the mighty sun god. His word was law, his will was divine, and his duty was to maintain Ma'at, the cosmic order of truth, justice, and harmony. The pharaoh was the essential link between the gods and humanity. Through his rituals and his reign, he ensured that the sun would rise, the Nile would flood, and Egypt would prosper. To look upon him was to look upon divinity itself. This divine status demanded a new kind of architecture, one that could bridge the gap between the mortal and the eternal. The old kingdom pharaohs became the greatest builders the world had ever known. They did not build mere tombs, they built stairways to the stars. The step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara was the first colossal stone structure on Earth, a powerful statement of the pharaoh's journey to the heavens. This was just the beginning. Generations later, the pharaohs of the fourth dynasty, Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure, would raise the Great Pyramids of Giza. These were not built by slaves, as was once believed, but by skilled Egyptian laborers who poured their lives and beliefs into these monumental projects. Inside these vast structures, and in the temples that grew alongside them, art and ritual flourished. The walls were covered in intricate hieroglyphs and vibrant paintings, not for the eyes of the living, but for the soul of the deceased pharaoh. They depicted his journey through the underworld, his triumphs in life, and his ultimate rebirth among the gods. Statues carved from granite and basalt presented the pharaoh in an idealized form, strong, serene, and timeless. These were not just portraits, they were vessels for the king's eternal spirit, his ka, to inhabit for all eternity. Every detail was steeped in symbolism, every image a prayer carved in stone. The age of the pharaohs was an age of absolute certainty. The people of Egypt believed in the power of their king and the promise of their gods. They worked together to build a civilization that reflected the perfection of the heavens. The great temples at Karnak and Luxor, expanded over centuries by successive pharaohs, were earthly reflections of the cosmos. Their massive columns were like a forest of papyrus reeds, their ceilings painted with stars. To walk through them was to walk in the presence of the gods. This was the peak of Pharaoh's power, a time when Egypt's confidence was as solid and enduring as the mountains of stone they built. Beyond the grand monuments and the divine pharaohs lay a civilization of profound intellectual depth. The Egyptians were not just master builders, they were keen observers of the world, meticulous record keepers, and pioneers of science and medicine. The engine of this knowledge was their invention of writing, the sacred hieroglyphs. This complex system of beautiful pictures and phonetic symbols allowed them to record their history, their beliefs, and their discoveries. It was the domain of the Scribes, a highly respected class who spent years learning the intricate script. They were the memory of the nation, the guardians of its culture. Their knowledge of medicine was astonishingly advanced for the ancient world. Medical papyri, such as the Edwin Smith papyrus, reveal a surprisingly rational approach to healing. They detail clinical examinations, diagnoses, and treatments for a wide range of ailments, from broken bones to complex surgical procedures. These ancient doctors understood the importance of the pulse and had a basic knowledge of the circulatory system. They set fractures with splints, sutured wounds, and prescribed remedies made from plants and minerals. While magic and prayer were still part of healing, their methods were rooted in careful observation and practical experience. The Egyptians' understanding of the afterlife was equally complex and sophisticated. It was not a simple belief in heaven, but a detailed roadmap for an arduous journey the soul must take. The Book of the Dead was a collection of spells and incantations intended to guide the deceased through the perils of the underworld. The goal was to pass the final judgment, the weighing of the heart, where the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Mayat. If the heart was light, free from sin, the soul would be granted eternal life in the field of reeds, a perfect reflection of the Egypt they knew. This belief shaped every aspect of their lives and funerary practices. This quest for eternity drove their mastery of mummification. It was a sacred science, a 70-day process designed to preserve the body as a permanent vessel for the soul. Priests with anatomical knowledge carefully removed the internal organs, dried the body with natron salts, and wrapped it in hundreds of yards of linen bandages. Amulets and spells were placed within the wrappings for protection. This intricate process demonstrates their deep conviction that the physical body was essential for the afterlife. It was a testament to their unwavering belief that death was not an end, but merely a transition to an eternal, unchanging existence. No golden age lasts forever. Even a civilization as mighty as Egypt, seemingly as eternal as the stars, was subject to the forces of decay. After more than 1,000 years of remarkable stability and prosperity, the first serious cracks began to appear in the kingdom's foundations. The end of the Old Kingdom was marked by a period of environmental catastrophe. The predictable rhythm of the Nile faltered. Decades of low floods led to widespread drought and famine. The black, fertile land turned to dust. The central authority of the pharaoh, whose divinity was tied to ensuring abundance, began to crumble. With the pharaoh's power weakened, the regional governors, or nomarchs, grew more powerful. They had once been loyal administrators of the king, but now they began to rule their provinces as personal fiefdoms. Egypt fractured. The unity that Narmer had forged so long ago was shattered. The country descended into civil war and chaos, a period known as the First Intermediate Period. Letters from this time speak of despair, of social order being turned upside down, where the rich became poor and the land was filled with turmoil. The confidence that had built the pyramids was replaced by fear and uncertainty. The world no longer seemed to reflect the divine order of Ma'at. Egypt would rise again, reunified under the powerful pharaohs of the Middle and New Kingdoms. This was an era of renewed strength, of empire and conquest. Pharaohs like Thutmose III and Ramesses the Great expanded Egypt's borders, bringing immense wealth and influence back to the Nile Valley. But this very success sowed the seeds of future decline. The empire was vast and difficult to control. Egypt was now entangled in the complex politics of the Near East, facing powerful new rivals like the Hittites. The nation's focus shifted from internal consolidation to external defense, draining its resources and its spirit. The reign of Ramesses the Great was perhaps the last great peak. After his death, a long, slow decline set in. A succession of weaker pharaohs struggled to hold the kingdom together. Internal power struggles between the monarchy and the increasingly wealthy priesthood of Amun-Ra created deep divisions. The economy faltered. More ominously, waves of foreign invaders, the Sea Peoples, crashed against Egypt's shores. Though Ramesses III fought them off, the wars left the country exhausted and impoverished. The golden mask of the pharaohs was beginning to slip, revealing a tired and vulnerable face beneath. The final chapters of ancient Egypt's independence are a story of a proud civilization slowly being submerged by foreign tides. The internal weaknesses left the country vulnerable to its ambitious neighbors. In the south, the Kushite kings of Nubia, who had long been Egyptianized, saw themselves as the true heirs of the pharaohs. They swept north and established their own dynasty, ruling as the Black Pharaohs and seeking to restore Egypt to its former glory. But their rule was cut short by a new, more ruthless power from the east, the Assyrians, whose iron weapons proved superior to Egypt's bronze. The Assyrians sacked Thebes, the sacred heart of Egypt, a wound from which the nation's pride would never fully recover. Egypt enjoyed brief moments of revival, but its autonomy was fragile. The real turning point came in 525 BC with the invasion of the Persians. The Persian king Cambyses II defeated the Egyptian army and incorporated the ancient kingdom into his vast empire. For the first time in its long history, the land of the Nile was ruled as a mere province, its pharaoh a distant emperor in a foreign land. The Egyptians resisted, launching several revolts, but the might of the Persian Empire was too great. The age of the native Egyptian pharaoh was drawing to a close, the divine link between the land and its ruler broken. Then came a new conqueror, a man who would change the world: Alexander the Great. In 332 BC, he marched into Egypt and was hailed as a liberator from Persian rule. The oracle of Amun at the Siwa oasis declared him a son of the god, the legitimate pharaoh. Alexander respected Egypt's ancient traditions and founded a new capital on the Mediterranean coast, a city that would bear his name, Alexandria. It was destined to become the new intellectual and cultural center of the Hellenistic world. After Alexander's early death, his general, Ptolemy, took control of Egypt, establishing a new dynasty of Greek-speaking pharaohs. The Ptolemaic dynasty ruled for 3 centuries, a fascinating fusion of Greek and Egyptian culture. The rulers, like the famous Cleopatra VII, presented themselves as traditional pharaohs to the Egyptian people while living as Hellenistic monarchs. But their reign was overshadowed by the rising power of Rome. Cleopatra's fateful alliance with Mark Antony and their defeat at the hands of Octavian marked the end. In 30 BC, Egypt was annexed as a province of the Roman Empire. The last pharaoh was dead. After 3,000 years, the line of the gods on earth was extinguished, and the long, independent story of ancient Egypt was finally over. The pharaohs are gone. The gods are silent. The temples have fallen into ruin. And yet, ancient Egypt has not truly vanished. It lives on, not as a political power, but as a powerful idea, a cultural echo that resonates through the ages. Its legacy is written in our stars, in the 365-day calendar that the Egyptians first devised. It is present in our architecture, in the monumental use of stone columns and obelisks that have been copied by empires from Rome to the modern day. The wisdom of its scribes and doctors laid early foundations for science and medicine, their curiosity a spark that would later ignite the minds of the Greeks. The allure of this lost world is timeless. It speaks to something deep within the human spirit. Our fascination with eternity, our quest for meaning in the face of death, and our desire to leave a mark on the world that will outlast us. The pyramids are not just tombs, they are symbols of human aspiration, of what we can achieve when we unite in a common purpose. The serene, confident faces on their statues and reliefs project a sense of order and harmony that our own chaotic world often lacks. We look at their civilization and see a reflection of our own hopes and fears, magnified on a grand, epic scale. The rediscovery of Egypt in the 19th century, culminating in Howard Carter's discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922, sparked a global phenomenon. Egyptomania swept the world. The treasures that emerged from the sand were not just gold and jewels. They were keys to a forgotten way of life, a direct, tangible link to this incredible past. They allowed us to hear the whispers of this lost world more clearly than ever before. We could suddenly look into the face of a young king who lived over 3,000 years ago. His tomb a perfect time capsule of belief and artistry, untouched by the passage of centuries. Today, as the sun sets over the Nile, casting long shadows from the ruins of Karnak, the story feels complete. The river still flows, the desert sands still shift, and the monuments still stand as silent witnesses. Ancient Egypt is a story of human genius and human frailty, of divine ambition and mortal decline. It teaches us that even the greatest civilizations are finite, that all power is fleeting. But it also shows us that ideas, beliefs, and beauty can achieve a kind of immortality. The spirit of ancient Egypt endures, a golden, eternal memory shimmering in the desert heat, forever inviting us to listen, to learn, and to remember.